Welcome back to the Go Create workshop. The rare event has occurred. I've actually finished, or well, almost finished, a long-term project. So the die filer is pretty much complete. So the motor is housed inside the cabinet. So it's a big motor for 1/3 horsepower. But even 1/3 horsepower is way over the top for what's needed, but it's what was available. It's what was donated to the project. The base plate it sits on was also donated to the project, which came from an old Alexander engraver. So above the motor we have an intermediate drive shaft. So I've got a 2-to-1 reduction between the motor and the intermediate shaft, and then another 2-to-1 reduction to the die filer. So the spindle speed going into the die filer is about 320 RPM, something like that. So one more look inside before I put the lid on. So I'm busy making the inserts for the files. So each file will have its holder and also an insert. And the insert fits into the top of the table. I've added a spring-loaded clamp just to hold the insert, stop it from rotating. So once I'm done with these, the only thing left is the adapters that hold the top of the file and the top file support, and then that's the job finished. Before you start, you can give it some lubrication. So just for a quick demonstration, I've set up a 1/2 inch diameter file, and I've fitted the top support. I'm on low gear, and the maximum stroke, which is 2 inches. So there is a tendency for the file to grab the work on the up stroke and lift it. It just depends on how much pressure you're putting on. I've got a bit of clearance there. We'll just see how we get on. Well, it's not doing too bad. So this is actually tool steel, so it's quite hard. A nice thick section. So I'm just putting on light pressure, and it is kind of just jumping a little bit. So I'll just drop those down. This is an uneven surface, so its thickness varies a little bit, but never mind. So that's working quite nice. It's a bit of a slow job, but it's very effective. Machine's working very well. So we'll change this over to a small file. Lift this out of the way. Okay, we can get this out of the way. So I made up a key to engage the end of the drive shaft. So we can now rotate that and position the stroke to the top. Okay, that's the top of the stroke. So because I'm going to use a smaller file, we want to reduce the stroke to 1 inch. So we have to engage the stroke lock. So that's the spindle now locked. Unclamp the stroke lock, push it in a little bit, and then we can drop that and retighten. So we're now at a 1 inch stroke. So we'll disengage the lock, just check everything's okay. Looks fine. So we'll put the file in. Tighten it up. So it's right at the bottom there. I think we'll lift it up just a little bit. The insert in, just tighten it up a little bit, check it for squareness, not too bad. Just put it on. Okay, so we're going to increase the speed. Okay, loosen the clamp nut, fiddle with the gears, that's it. So we're now on high gear, so we'll give that a go. Okay, so I've got a bit of thin mild steel here, looks to be about 2mm thick. So it does tend to lift the work a little bit on the upstroke, even with the thin material, but it's a lot easier to hold it down. But I think it's beneficial to have something on there to hold it down for you. Anyway, works fine, so you'll see this working in future videos, doing actual components. I think that covers most of the features. The top of the table does swivel. So I made the threads on this side right hand and the threads on the other side left hand. So rather than doing that, you move them that way, so you're doing that instead of that. Anyway, not sure that's a big advantage. So you can position it 15 degrees forward, 5 degrees back, and probably a little bit more than that. So that's all. Obviously you can just, like as you're seeing, you can adjust this way. So to line your file up with the insert, you can actually take that insert out. If you need to adjust it, you can slacken those off. Again, right hand on this side, left hand on this side, and you can position it as such. So if you need to reduce the clearance between the insert and the file, then you can adjust that such. So for example, if I put this insert in, then you can adjust it to get minimum clearance and tighten it up. So I did add these lubrication points which directly lubricate the bearings. So this one lubricates the bearings in here, and this one lubricates the bearings on the main spindle at this side, and this lubricates the bearing on the main spindle at this side. As well as that, obviously we've got the oil which is being distributed and dripping down all over the place. So it should be well lubricated. The flexible light was another donation which came in really handy. So the electrical box, the start stop switch and the indicator light which indicates power's on, are some of the few things that I did actually buy for this project. So I think that's it. So yes, I'm very happy with how it's turned out. It's a machine that requires a little bit of patience, I think, but I think it'll be a good tool for finishing off components. At first I did think that the file strokes per minute was a little bit slow, but having used it for a little while, I think I'm happy with it as it is. It's not a machine for aggressive filing, so it's been a very cheap build. Pretty much all the materials that I've used have been donated to the workshop one time or another over the years, or given in exchange for machining favours. So yeah, it's very nice being on the receiving end of so many donations to the workshop. It's very much appreciated. I do wonder though whether people might get the idea that I'm part of the British governing establishment. Well, I buy my own clothes, I buy my own glasses, and I pay for my own accommodation. So I don't think I qualify, so enough said. So a few people have been asking to see the clock, which you can often hear ticking in the background, so let's take a look. So this is a very nice clock, but this is not the clock. That's the clock. Nothing special, just bog standard, with a very loud tick. But if the microphone's picking it up, you can probably now hear 2 ticks. So I think moving forward we'll decommission the clock at the back and we'll commission this clock here, so see how it goes anyway. It's got a very nice chime. So moving forward, I'm going to be concentrating almost exclusively on model engineering projects, with a few workshop tools thrown in here and there. I've got one project to complete for a friend of a friend, and then it's on to the line locomotive, which has been waiting patiently. It's been far too long, so we need to get cracking.